This is Matthew Kratter's Bitcoin University. I wanted to do another follow-up video today, but I'll put a link to my previous video right here. It's called Coldcard Hardware Wallet Emergency, Why You Need to Move Your Funds Now. This video I'm going to call more on the Coldcard disaster. First, some background though. A Bitcoin seed, whether it's 12 words or 24 words, are the most common. A Bitcoin seed is what controls and backs up a Bitcoin wallet. And if anyone has your seed, they can use it to send your Bitcoin to addresses that they control. In other words, they can steal your Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin seed is an extremely large random number, and it's basically impossible to guess if it's generated properly and it's random enough. It's like guessing a certain grain of sand on a beach, or really more like guessing a certain atom in the existing universe. So these are very large random numbers. But if it's not generated randomly enough, it can be guessed by a computer, then all the associated Bitcoin addresses can be checked by the bot or by the computer and emptied. So you never want to pick your own 12 words. For example, some people will say they'll take a Beatles song they like or a favorite Bible verse and they'll use words from that. You never want to do that. You want to use a random number generator, which is what's in many of these hardware wallets. Unfortunately, it turns out that the Coldcard random number generator has not been working properly. It now appears that every single Coldcard hardware wallets, all the MK models and the Q model, may not have been generating truly random seeds, maybe at least since 2020. So to be careful about this, if you're using a Coldcard wallet that you use to generate a seed, you need to move your Bitcoin immediately. Very important too, even if it hasn't been stolen or swept yet, if your Bitcoin is still sitting there, it will likely get swept soon unless you take action, because these Coldcard seeds appear not to have enough randomness. So they're present in a certain search space and they can be guessed by a computer. And so we had one guy who was stealing people's Bitcoin, but it seems like the exploit has now been made known to the wider world, and people scammers are revving up their computers and getting ready to do a more thorough search of the space and all the Bitcoin addresses that can get swept. So if your Bitcoin hasn't been stolen yet, you need to act immediately. A passphrase, if you have a passphrase on top of your 12 or 24 words, that'll buy you some time, but it will probably eventually get guessed too, especially if it's short. If you're using another hardware wallet like a Trezor or Jade, for example, with a seed that was generated by a Coldcard wallet that you then imported into your Trezor or Jade, your funds are also not safe, because the problem is with Coldcard's random number generator. Someone has pointed this out to me on X. I don't know if this is true, if this is the actual library that Coldcard was using. It looks like it, Coldcard MicroPython. And right here are some notes. A pseudo-RNG is not really ideal, but we go with it for now, seeding with numbers which will be somewhat different each time. So this may be evidence that they were not using a true random number. RNG just stands for random number generator, but obviously eventually this will be all figured out exactly what happened. But the important thing now is just to make sure your funds are safe. So in my previous video, I recommended moving your funds either to a mobile wallet. This is not ideal because it's a hot wallet on your phone. But given the situation, if you don't have a different hardware wallet that you can use, a different like a Coldcard, or you have some dice that you can use to generate one, it's probably safer to use a hot wallet on your phone than to leave your funds in a Coldcard wallet. So you can download the Bull Bitcoin wallet. You can download the Blue wallet. I also wanted to show you really quickly how to create a wallet on your desktop or laptop, a free wallet that you can use to send your Bitcoin to and to get it out of the Coldcard wallet. So I'll put a link to this in the description notes below. You want to make sure you go to sparrowwallet.com and you go under download. If you know how to verify the software, I highly recommend doing that. I'm not going to do it here, but basically what I would do is I would just click on this for, I'm on an Apple chip, Mac desktop, click on whatever your operating system is, install it like you would any other program. And then when you open it up, you'll see a screen that looks like this. You can make sure that the server is on. If you have your own node, you can connect it, but I'm assuming someone in a rush situation like this may just want to use a public server. So you can click on server, and then you can connect, select public server and pick one of these. And it looks like I'm connected to a public Electrum server here just for the purposes of this, because I don't want to show the Tor address that my Bitcoin Knots node is using. But basically, we're talking about moving fast here, so we're less worried about these things. So basically, when you get here, you want to create a new wallet. We'll enter a name for this. We'll just call it the Coldcard Disaster. We click Create Wallet. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to create a hot wallet for these purposes. Basically, this is a temporary solution. Again, a hot wallet on your desktop is not as good as a disconnected one, a hardware wallet. But in this situation, you're probably better off with a hot wallet on your desktop like Sparrow than you are with leaving your funds in a Coldcard. So just trying to give you a quick solution here. Click New or Imported Software Wallet. Go up here, just pick 12 words to make it really easy. Click Generate New, and then you need to confirm the backup. So you should not do this. I'm going to take a picture of this, and so I can re-enter the seed words, but you should write them down. Do not take a picture of them. These seed words contain your Bitcoin and can be used to use your Bitcoin and to move your Bitcoin. Basically, these were generated by Sparrow's random number generator, and we're going to assume, at least for the purposes of this, that it does a better job than the Coldcard did. So I'm going to take a quick picture of this just so I can use it, and then I'm going to confirm the backup. I'm going to re-enter these words, and then I'll get back to you after I've done that. It says, have these 12 words been written down? In the next step, you'll need to re-enter them. So I took a picture instead of writing them down. You should definitely write them down instead with a pen and paper. And so now I'm going to re-enter the words, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've re-entered all those words. Now I just click Create Key Store. I click Import Key Store, and then I click Apply. It's going to ask me if I want to add a password to this. This will just encrypt it on your computer. Not really necessary to do, but I'm just going to add 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're going to do this, you should probably add a better one than that. But this basically just encrypts it on your desktop, so you can actually skip this. I'm just going to click Set Password, and then it's basically all ready to go. You can see your list of transactions here, and if you want to receive some Bitcoin from your Coldcard, you would just click a receive address here. You would copy this address right here, and then put it into your use it to send the funds from your Coldcard to this hot wallet. The other thing you can do is you could go up here and you could say new wallet, and then we could say, let's just enter anything for it. What we could do is we could import our Coldcard seed as well here if you don't want to use your Coldcard. Now you should never type your seed into a desktop like this or an internet connected device normally, but in this case it might make sense. So in this case I just click new or imported, and I would basically go here, use 12 words, and then I could enter my Coldcard. If it's 12 words or if it's 24 words, I could enter them here and basically set up the wallet. So then I would have 2 Sparrow wallets. This would be my Coldcard one, and what I would do is I would just go over here, get the receive address, copy it, go over to here. It looks like I need to, if I clicked apply, this would be ready to go, but basically I'll just click send on here. I'll paste in this address, and that will send the Bitcoin out of my Coldcard wallet into this hot wallet. So that's basically how you can do a very quick recovery with free software. Again, hot wallets are not a good long-term storage solution for your Bitcoin, but if you leave them on a Coldcard now, I think you're at much greater risk. There's some other risks with Coldcards as well. This is something that someone told me today. He's going to remain anonymous. I was told a year and a half ago by DM that their Coldcard secure element doesn't even perform ECDSA signing. It exfiltrates the seed to normal silicon circuits and signs there. I never gave much air because I cannot verify this, but given how they effed up seed generation, wouldn't surprise me if that was true too. So I think the best thing to do here is to get away from your Coldcard and get away from using it as quickly as possible. Now, I've been using Coldcard hardware wallets since about 2020, I believe, and I've recommended them to thousands of people on this channel over the years. I would say I've done a rough calculation. I've probably been personally responsible for about $500,000 or more worth of Coldcard sales, and that makes me feel like vomiting on a day like this. If you bought a Coldcard on my recommendation over the past few years and have now lost money, I do feel responsible. So please forgive me for the role that I played in getting you wrecked. But it's important to point out as well, just in full disclosure, I've never made a dime from recommending Coldcard or any other product on this channel. I've never offered an affiliate code for it, and I've actually never had any external sponsors for my channel. The only thing I really sell on this channel is my paid website and my paid courses. And one reason I chose to do that is I knew that I could control the quality of that, and I would never have a problem having to apologize for someone else's products or services. The good news about this as well is that I was able to quickly pivot and attack NVK, who's the CEO and founder of Coinkite, attack him when he began to show his true character earlier this year. And this is something that's not available to all channels if they are using sponsors. So this was from January of this year. Coldcard is a really shitty human being, and I linked to Seed, the SeedSigner guy. Basically, he's pointing out that NVK basically is a domain squatter and took all these SeedSigner websites and redirected them to his own So NVK has made a lot of enemies over the years. I don't think now's the time to focus on it, but I did want to point this out, how I've been talking about him for at least 6 months. Amazing thread about NVK and his dirty antics. Wish I'd known this before. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When someone shows you who they are, you should believe them. NVK has gone out of his way to attack pleb projects like SeedSigner, and he often has spam supporters on his pod. He's done nothing but fence it and cause problems during the spam wars. This is where I really lost it with NVK when he said controversial opinion, the Bitcoin plebs never mattered. And this is when I began to move away from Coldcard, because if a company despises its customers, it's a really bad sign. It's a sign that they're arrogant or that there's just something going wrong. So I'm not surprised that Coldcard has had this problem, because NVK was spending a little too much time on Twitter, basically lording it over people instead of worrying about the security of his products. And so this was the point at which I offered to promote other hardware wallet makers for free. I got in an argument with BTC Sessions here, basically saying, Ben, you need to view this comment in the context of how unhelpful and even counterproductive NVK has been throughout this entire spam debate. He's a cowardly fence sitter with some shitty spammer friends. I really regret everything I've done to help him over the years. So I tried to call him out, and I've tried to move people to SeedSigner. I made this video about 2 months ago. And I'd like to think that if we weren't fighting the Civil War, I would have spent more time on things like hardware wallets. So I'm sorry if you did not see this and you did not migrate it. But this is definitely the only hardware wallet I'll be recommending going forward. This is a free and open source project. I don't get paid for it or anything like that. And you can basically order the hardware yourself and build one of these. So that's what I'm using for my cold storage setup. And I'm actually using multi-sig with SeedSigner, which works really well as well. You can do multi-vendor, multi-sig, which is another way of doing it. You probably shouldn't use a Coldcard as part of these signers, but SeedSigner works great in single sig and multi-sig, and you won't have to deal with people like NVK. I'll put a link to his apology to the community right here if you want to read it. I sort of skimmed it, but Margarita's response to him really stuck out. And if you go on X today, you can see a lot of very sad responses like that. People who are taking care of their elderly parents who have cancer, who just got rugged and lost all their Bitcoin. Just regular Bitcoiners who did the right thing and have been wrecked by Coldcard and NVK and his products. Margarita writes here, NVK, like you said, it won't bring back my funds for this 37-week pregnant mom of soon to be 3. I want you to sell all your funds, your entire company treasury, and make this right. Feel the pain you caused personally. Only then can you understand what you inflicted. So many people hurt. Reminder here, do not assume that a passphrase on top of your 12 or 24 words will protect you. It will only maybe buy you some time to move your coins. So you need to move your coins right away if they're sitting on a Coldcard seed or in a wallet that is generated by a Coldcard generated seed. If you're running a 2 out of 3 multi-sig and 2 out of the 3 signers use Coldcard generated seeds, you are also at risk. And as I said, the biggest tragedy here is that this is affecting plebs who did the right thing. They bought a high quality, well-vetted, expensive hardware wallet, one that I've been recommending, as I said, for years, and took the time and effort to move their coins off the exchange, which is still the right thing to do, not your keys, not your coins. The solution to problems like this is to do dice rolls yourself and create your own randomness using a set of nice casino dice. Don't use old dice that might be lopsided, but you can generate your own large random numbers, and you can import them into a SeedSigner. It's very, very easy to do and kind of fun. So I hope this doesn't drive people away from self-custody, because leaving your Bitcoin with someone else will prove to be quite disastrous, and actually much more disastrous. As Leo writes here, if you use a custodian to keep your Bitcoin, you're trusting them for not going bankrupt with your funds. It's happened many times, not getting hacked, not freezing your funds because of regulations. And then something I hate to mention in the context of so much grieving and so much loss, but the BIP 110 fork is still going to happen. There's no way to stop it now, nor would we want to stop it. I could point out parenthetically here that NVK was one of our fiercest critics, and perhaps he should have spent more time on his hardware wallets instead of attacking people who just want to do what they think is best for the network. But it's important to have your Bitcoin in self-custody going into this soft fork. If it's on an exchange, you can't really be sure how they will treat it if there is a chain split. I don't expect a chain split, but if one happens, it'll be very nice to be in control of your own coins, plus for all of these reasons as well. So don't give up on self-custody. Self-custody is hard Hopefully most of you got through this and have been able to move your funds, or were using Coldcard with a passphrase or multisig or something like that that protected you and gave you time to move your funds. Anyway, this is a developing story. I'll try to stay on top of it and bring you videos like this once I know something else. But stay safe out there. Practice your self-custody skills. And really, if you've lost a lot of Bitcoin, if you've lost a lot of money, just remember that life is more important than anything like this. So don't do anything drastic. We're all going to make our ways through this somehow together. So stay strong, and feel free to DM me or email me if you need any support. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.